Sabrina is probably the most powerful character ever in Pokemon. But who is our favorite psychic really? Let's find out. Born and raised in the Kanto region, Sabrina is a psychic type specialist and the gym leader of Saffron City. Her title is Master of Psychic Pokemon, which is cool and all, but has absolutely no relevance to why her gym teleportation puzzle is infuriating and completely unnecessary. Just tell me where I'm going. Ah! And it's not fun. Supposedly, she can see the future and she saw a strong trainer 3 years in advance. That strong trainer being you. But she later admits that her psychic powers may not be as strong as she initially thought, as your skill exceeded her vision. She's also kinda salty because she implies that you have plot armor by saying that the power of love that you had overwhelmed her psychic abilities. And she's also a Meganium hater because it's clearly the power of Meganium that beat her. What I don't have a clue about is how Meganium outsped her Alakazam. Maybe it was the power of love. She comes across as quite level-headed for a psychic, with her ace fittingly being Alakazam, a Pokemon that matches her psychic prowess. She is stated to hate battling, which is like, okay, why are you a gym leader then? And to further add to the confusion, she actually beat the gym status out of that fighting dojo next to her gym. Yeah, that dojo where you get Hitmonchan or Hitmonlee was a gym before. I kind of felt bad for the dojo master, then I realized what a big crybaby he is.
Feel free to choose whichever one you like!
To be fair, she was probably pressured into it by those closest to her, given her undeniable Pokemon battling talent. In Generation 1 Red and Blue, and also Fire Red and Leaf Green, she has a decent team, but there's a random Venomoth on it for some reason, which totally didn't give me any trouble. Yeah. In Generation 2 Crystal, she has a nice addition to the team, being Espeon. In the Gen 2 remake, her levels were juiced all the way up, rightfully so, as this is the post-game, but she was still a piece of cake. I only lost because I lagged out. Generation 5 Black and White 2 is where things really heated up. She showed the best version of herself in the Kanto Leaders Tournament, where she finally has Hypno, thank God. The Type Expert Tournament is where she's really going for blood, and she most notably adds a Metagross to the team. However, despite this, her most powerful team of all could only be battled after downloading an event called the Battle Between Legendary Pokemon, which was only available on Japanese and Korean versions of the game late 2012, where she has Mewtwo. In the anime, she is crazy, carrying a doll around and looking like something out of a Japanese horror movie. So crazy that as soon as Ash arrives in Saffron City, a guy who, spoilers, is her dad, tells him to not even bother with the gym and just give up on the league challenge. Bonehead Ash puts on his strongest coat of plot armor, challenging her anyway. Sabrina says if she wins, then she gets to play with them. Her Abra magically evolves into the scariest Kadabra in the show, diddles Pikachu's doodle, and Ash realizes that his plot armor coating wasn't applied correctly, and he forfeits. Of course, Sabrina's idea of playing is slightly different. How different, you ask? Turn you into a doll and torture you for her own amusement kind of different. And while they're dolls, they find out that her own mum has been living there for years.
I don't even like dolls! Are we gonna be stuck this way forever?
That depends. It's up to Sabrina.
That other doll just spoke.
It's nice to have company. I'm Sabrina's mother.
Her mother?
She turned you into a doll too?
Sabrina's dad uses his psychic powers to teleport in and save all their asses. Wait just a minute. If he could have done that the whole time, why didn't he ever think of saving his wife? These are questions that will never be answered. Anyway, not having learnt his lesson, Ash begs her dad to help him. Her dad whoops Ash around to test his determination and finally advises him to catch a ghost to stand a chance against Sabrina. In a surprisingly wholesome episode, Ash goes to Lavender Tower, hangs out with some humorous ghosts,
I don't get it. They're weird.
and befriends a comical haunter who he plans to use in his rematch. Come the rematch, Sabrina makes them promise again to let her torture them as dolls, to which they agree again. Haunter gets bored and disappears? Ash is out of luck as all of his other Pokemon are terrified of Sabrina, so he forfeits before they even start and legs it. Sabrina's like, not today, turns Brock and Misty into dolls, but Sabrina's dad saves Ash before he gets dollified this time. Better them than me, right? Haunter gets a stern talking to by Ash, and he goes for rematch number 2. Go Haunter. And he disappeared again. Pikachu mans up and does extremely well, severely damaging Kadabra. Then it uses
Recover.
and Ash finally gets a taste of what it's like to fight against the plot. Until his win condition arrives, of course. Yes, Haunter goes up to Sabrina, confusing her at first, then trying to make her laugh. You know, with the classic sticking tongue out, making funny faces, and exploding a bomb in her face, which kinda gets the others on edge. Being a nutcase, she actually finds it funny and can't stop laughing, leaving Ash as the winner and her dad being touched by the sight of his daughter laughing. I can only imagine his joy. Her dad gives a little backstory. Since birth, Sabrina knew that she was a little bit different, being blessed or cursed, however you look at it, with psychic powers that started with bending a spoon and eventually being able to bend reality itself. As she grew older, she became intrigued and obsessed with her own powers, developing these powers at the expense of her own emotions, leaving an ice-cold monster. She is seemingly normal by the end, with her crazy family forgiving her and her mum acting like she wasn't trapped for years, which is kind of weird. Maybe she's used to being trapped in the house? The dollhouse wouldn't be much different, just less responsibilities, I guess? As for the Adventures manga, we finally meet the third member of the Team Rocket triad, Sabrina, the teenage witch. Sabrina first appears hovering with her Kadabra, watching over Red as he just befriended Eevee, who was of interest to Team Rocket. Of course, as a test subject. Later on, Blaine and Red have an epic battle with Moltres, which has some crazy moments such as Red reviving Aerodactyl and it being able to help them defend against Moltres, and eventually escape. I'm pretty sure when I revived my old Amber in Fire Red and Leaf Green, my Aerodactyl was only level 5, but then again, I'm not a main character. Anyway, after Koga catches Articuno, he makes fun of Sabrina for not being able to catch Blaine, despite her having control of the legendary Moltres. So she was actually the person behind Moltres' attack, using her telepathic powers to control Moltres. And she caught Moltres off-screen, or off-panel. Either way, she's a pretty tough trainer. Red then heads to Pallet Town after helping Blaine in his sticky battle with Moltres, and goes to drop in on an old friend, Professor Oak. He's acting real weird, and suddenly turns around and tries to smack Red in the face. Red is confused, but he still thinks it's Oak, meaning he obviously isn't a fan of Pokemon cards, because everyone knows that Curly Bang is that of Imposter Professor Oak. Everyone had that card, right? The Imposter uses Psybeam and reveals itself to be Kadabra, followed by Sabrina showing up out of nowhere. She tells him that this is just a warning despite trying to kill him, by the way. Red has had enough and returns the favor with a Razor Leaf, which goes straight through Sabrina because she was a projection or illusion. Or she used psychic powers to dematerialize? We'll never know. She tells him where the headquarters are located for absolutely no reason, and then disappears. Green runs into the real Sabrina, who compliments herself as being a psychic warrior since twisting a spoon in her mouth from a young age. Green is nervous, finding out that she had to battle against an actual psychic with psychic Pokemon. Unexpectedly, they have quite a comical showdown. It begins with Green using Smokescreen to attempt to gain the upper hand, but Sabrina says she can see through all that BS with her psychic powers. Green actually tries to fight with her mentally, which is surprisingly effective. +1 for Green. She calls Sabrina a good trainer, but says her grammar is bad, so I guess she's uneducated, and that she's ugly. Never call a woman ugly. She takes this really personally. This was probably the most super effective move on Sabrina in the manga. So she orders Kadabra to spoon slash Green's boobies, only to find out that Green stuffs her bra with Pokeballs, meaning she slashed her Pokeboobies, causing Pokebooby Pokemon to come out. What is going on? Clefairy and Jigglypuff spam growl and sing, and Sabrina is going insane at this point. Green takes a little button from her and drops the "see ya, bye." Sabrina finds red, green, and blue, and she is livid. So goes straight to the big guns, sending out Moltres and telling Kadabra to get Zapdos and Articuno. She is planning a massacre. That's not all though. She even goes as far as to fuse the 3 legendary birds together, stating that this is Team Rocket's greatest scientific achievement, thanks to Eevee being the prototype for the experiment. I think she's forgetting about Mewtwo. Sabrina threatens to take over Pallet Town, and Red takes that as a challenge. So he stands up to her and evolves Clefairy with the Moonstone, which does absolutely nothing at all, and he gets smacked around by triple gusts, sky attacks, thunder, fire spins, and blizzards. Sabrina is really going for blood here. Unfortunately for her, Red shows her the true power of main character by evolving his Ivysaur out of nowhere, not getting any experience, into Venusaur, getting the final Smash Ball, which is like wrong game, right? And unleashing a triple finish with Green's Blastoise and Blue's Charizard. She, along with her fusion monster, get obliterated, with her famous last words being "Gah." And it's over. Just like that. In summary, Sabrina remains a powerful and unforgettable character in the Pokemon world. Her impact on the series is undeniable. She continues to be a fan favorite for her strength, complexity, and intriguing personality. She does come across as a person looking for a purpose, and she was slightly misguided, leading to her misinterpreting the best use of her natural gift of psychic powers. Please share your favorite memories of Sabrina and Pokemon in the comments below. Don't forget to check out my channel for more Pokemon related content, as I have great plans for the upcoming months. Thank you for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Please leave a like and subscribe, but also feel free to leave a suggestion on what you'd like to see next.